Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you to Ezekiel's Army. It's been a while since I've done a video, especially one that's true to the nature of this page, which in essence is prepping. But in light of things that have occurred lately in the news, things we've seen going on around the world, I wanted to talk today about the electricity needs in a blackout or grid down scenario. In this video, I'm going to try to cover some of the ways we can stay connected in a world without a functioning electrical grid. As we've seen in recent days, blackouts are not an impossibility. We saw the Vatican, as well as the entire country of Pakistan, plunged into darkness without any warning. And I assure you, our electrical grid here in America is just as vulnerable to a list of things that could leave us in the dark as well. And so I'd like to touch on some of the things that I've done in my preparation to try and be electrically sustained in a situation like that, be it short-term or long-term. I think it's important that we have redundant processes in place to help bridge that span of time we may find ourselves without electricity. Some of the things I've done in preparation for the possibility of losing electricity. I live in northern Michigan, and so snowstorms in the wintertime are very likely, and we find ourselves without electricity at least a half a dozen times each winter. Same applies for springtime. We're prone to some very bad storms, wind storms, microbursts, tornadoes, and such. Not as much as Tornado Alley in the Midwest, but we do have our fair share of them up here in northern Michigan. Needless to say, it's a pretty adverse weather conditions, and there are drastic swings in weather up here. They have a saying up here that says if you don't like the weather here in northern Michigan, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. In this video, I'm not going to stress so much the brands and brand names of products as much as I'm going to stress simple basic ideas that I've implemented in my attempt to be energy independent. And I think it's important that we all spend adequate time preparing along this way. In the 21st century world of technology, the first point I'm going to make is that we all need to truly assess and come to the reality of just exactly what it is we need when it comes to electricity. We could go down a list and say, well, I got to have this, I got to have that. My ma, for instance, is 78 years old. And so we have a built-in generator in her home in order to run her furnace. She's on a well. I'm on city water where I live at. So that's not so much an issue for me, especially in the wintertime. You can melt snow on the wood stove, so I'm not really so concerned about things like water wells. But there are people that live in more rural areas that need to address these issues. I do have 3 generators, the largest of which is 10,000 watts. And that I'm certain will be more than sufficient to run and supply all of my electrical needs in a catastrophic electrical grid down scenario. But I'm going to go over some of the things I have over here on the table. You can see I've got a whole plethora of things, and I'm going to kind of go through those. And like I said, this is pretty basic, folks. You can take this to whatever degree you choose. I've kind of assessed in my life just exactly what it is I need to supply my electrical needs. I spend a lot of time canning foods. I can all my meats, not to say that I can all of it, but I can all meats, fish, poultry, pork, beef. I can soups and chilies. I can hundreds of quarts of food every year, gardens, things. And so my need for refrigeration really is a moot subject. And I also have the capacity and capability to can food even in a grid down situation. I have propane tanks and cylinders, and I have cookers, pressure cookers, plenty of jars, lids, and rings, a shortage we've seen of this year, amazingly, during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so trying to get canning rings and lids alone. So it's important that we plan ahead to suit the lifestyles that we live. And so I had planned ahead of time, and so I have plenty of rings and lids and jars to compensate that during canning season this last fall. So these are the things, and we'll talk more about that in other videos, but right now I want to stick predominantly to electrical needs and what I've done in my life to supply what I believe is going to be more than adequate for my electrical desires. And so what I'm going to start off with first is, and this was my introduction into solar, and I didn't pick this brand for any particular reason other than it had good customer reviews, and it was the right size unit for what I wanted, and had all of the different amenities that I thought I might need if we did in fact lose electricity. This here is a Goal Zero product, and it's the Yeti 400. And this, I've taken this on multiple camping excursions. It's done a fantastic job. And so I'm just going to go through a list of things that allow me to use this and survive very well using just something as small as this. And as I said, they sell bigger units, none of which that I'm really interested in buying. Like I said, I've whittled my lifestyle down in a grid down situation or shit hits the fan situation to bare necessities. I don't need refrigeration, like I said. I don't need to run a furnace or the lights or anything else in my house. And so this I find, and again, look up the products, look for yourself, and see what it is that you're going to need to sustain your lifestyle if you do in fact lose electricity. So as I said, this is the Yeti 400, and I'm going to go through a few things. First of all, I'll go through what it is that it takes to even charge this. What I have here, again, is a Goal Zero product. This is called the Nomad 20. I have two of these. I chose these because they're portable, and I use these in, I could stuff it right in the back of my never coming home bag or inch bag. And I'm going to go through a couple of components on this. You'll find in the back, it zips up. Really nice unit. It folds out, easy to set up. You can change its angle fast. It's got brass hooks and rings and loops that you can hang this from any position you need to get maximum input from the sun. But in the back, it comes with different adapters. This is your link to tie into your solar generator. It also has the capacity to plug in other 12 volts. You need to get adapters for these. They are sold separately, but they have 3 or 4 different adapters in here to do different types of charging. But you can look this up. As I said, this is the Nomad 20. You can look this up. It does a fine job charging this Yeti 400. But I also have a 50-watt solar panel that I'm not even going to pick up and try and show you. You can find that as well. That also came from Goal Zero. But this is the guts of the operation. This Yeti 400 and these solar panels. Now, the larger your solar generator, the larger, obviously, the solar panels you're going to want to get for faster recharge times. So let's run through a list of things that I've done to kind of set myself up electrically. First of all, as I said, in this world of technology, there's a number of things that we need in order to sustain life and continue as much as possible, at least, in a life as usual situation. One of them is our cell phone. Very important that we keep this, not to say that we wouldn't lose the capacity to be able to even use these. But this is charged easily off of this unit. I also have a solar radio. I'll hold this down here, maybe you get a better look. This is made by Motorola, and I can talk anywhere in the northern hemisphere on this. It's just like working a walkie-talkie. You have multiple channel options. You can get private channels as well as public channels. I've used this. It's reached as far as the most southern point of Michigan, clear up into Iron Mountain, which is one of the most northern points in the Upper Peninsula. This radio works really good, but it charges things like this. The batteries for my headlamps. I have handheld CBs that hook to antennas with adapters, body cameras, GoPro, my Garmin GPS. This charges all of these units, folks, and it does multiples at a time. And you can charge whether it's on or off the solar panels. Different forms of communication. I use the Baofeng UV5Rs. These things have a reach of up to 2.5 miles consistently with an aftermarket Nagoya antenna. You can look these up. If I have the wherewithal and the time, I'll put some of these links underneath the video. Feel free to go to it. And so I want to get into something else that pertains to this, and that's not to say that I don't, folks. I spend, one of the things we need in a grid down situation, most certainly, that we're going to go through a lot of, and I try and standardize these, but it's pretty difficult, but batteries. I buy lots and lots of batteries. If you're serious about prepping, you need to have lots of batteries. But on top of these, and I always wait for them to go on sale. My wife works at a hardware store, so I get a discount there anyway, but I try and wait for them to go on sale. But I buy lots of packs of these batteries, folks. But more importantly than that, one of the things I've invested in heavily is rechargeable batteries. I use Duracell. I've had good luck with these. Not to say that I haven't bought all. Here's Energizer. You can get these in every size battery. And folks, I use these things all the time. I have linked motion detectors with lights on the outside of my property. They light simultaneously, and I use rechargeable batteries in all of those. I get good mileage out of them. As I said, they're very expensive, but trust me when I say, I've tried it both ways, you're dollars and dollars ahead when you go that route. Some of the other things that this Yeti 400 is capable of, I've got piles. I'm a general contractor. I have piles of cordless tools. I have cordless chainsaws, cordless leaf blowers, drills, sawzalls. My coat, as a matter of fact, I have a Milwaukee heated coat. I've got a couple of them. You can charge the batteries for those as well off of this Yeti 400. Whether, like I said, it's linked to the solar panels or not, it stores a lot of power and lasts a long time. But there's other things we need as well, folks. We have things like communications, this radio right here, shortwave, medium wave, and long wave, FM. You can get radio stations. One of the most important things in any kind of catastrophe is to be able to stay in touch with civilization, and some of that can be done one way and some will be done on two-way radios, such as what I've shown you. The other thing I'm not going to show you, as it's just too heavy, is I have a bank of 12-volt deep cell batteries that I have stored in my back room. I have at the moment, trickle charger on it, and charge those, keep those charged up through my electrical outlets in my house, but those too can be charged off this solar set up in these solar panels, and they can be linked together with this Yeti 400. Again, that's an aftermarket component in order to link those batteries together, but it's well worth it. You can buy cords of any length from 15 feet up to 30 feet to be able to link your batteries together, or to extend your solar panels out and away. I like to set this up under a tree so it doesn't overheat, and then I set my panels out beyond the shade of the tree. And that seems to work real good for me. But batteries for flashlights, batteries for everything, folks. We are so tied to electricity. And so the next thing I'll touch on real quick is what I use to charge these batteries. Duracell makes some really nice products, but so does Energizer. This is just a small battery charger. You can do AA's and AAA's in this unit. It plugs into the wall, but it will plug into this unit as well. It's got standard outlets. It's got your cigarette type, for those of you old enough. I just dated myself with that. But it's got your cigarette plug-in, as you can see right down here. And let me see, I got something coming up on my screen and I don't know what it is. Get rid of that. But you can see right there, folks, as long as you can see that arrow. And then we've got standard wall plug-ins. We have USB ports, outlets. So you have multiple options to be able to use on this thing. But I charge things like this. You can plug this right straight in with a cord into this unit right there. And so I have this one. This will do, as I said, AA's and AAA batteries in this one. These things are fairly inexpensive, folks, and worth every penny you spend on them. One of the other ones I have that does your 9 volts and everything from your D batteries on down. This one here is made by Energizer. It's a very nice unit. I've been using this one for several years. The electrical cord and everything goes right inside. That also will plug right into this Yeti 400. And this thing does an incredible job, folks. As I said, I go on 5- and 6-day solo camping excursions. I take this equipment with me and test it out, and I have yet to run out of ample electricity. But as I said, and there's lots of other batteries. I have a case back here. Everything needs to be organized, folks. When you're looking for a grid down situation, this bag right here came with one of my night vision scopes, which I don't keep it in and it stays on my weapon. So I have a bag right here that just snaps open with Velcro. I keep all of my chargers and my cords and my leads inside of this bag, so I never have to look around for them. I keep them labeled so I know which each one goes to. And so I do that. And that goes for my batteries as well. I have cases for my batteries that I maintain. I'll hold that up. I get these organizers like this so I can keep all of my batteries exactly where I need them. I don't like to be looking around for things. It's aggravating for me. And I keep it in these nice little units. They're stackable. And I have boxes and boxes of these that I keep my different types of batteries in. Everything I purchase I try and keep organized. We also have these 5800 milliamp batteries, and I keep those in a separate case. And again, the charger stays right where the batteries are at, so I don't have to spend a lot of time looking around. It's important to stay organized, folks. So these are some of the things I've done. Like I said, and we'll just hit on everything one more time. Generators for large use. And again, I don't plug for any particular product. Any product out there at all is fine. It's whatever your pocketbook can afford. As I was saying about the cases, this is what I keep the smaller charger in. It's just a nice little case. I keep the charger in that pocket compartment, and then I keep extra batteries inside of here. And everything's organized. Like I said, I don't have to go to 15 different boxes, containers, or packages to find what it is that I need when I need it, especially if it's dark. We all have a ton of flashlights, I would think. I've got dozens of all different types. I've got lasers and lights on all of my weapons. Those need charged. As I said, my body camera, there's just a dozen uses. GPS, very important, especially in a grid down situation. But these are the things I've done, folks. I hope this video helps you. One more thing I'd like to touch on as well. Don't overlook the importance of solar for different things. This is just one of dozens of solar lights that I've purchased. You can find most of this online. I'm not going to plug for any particular spot to buy it online. It opens up and charges. It's got a hook on top. You can hang it up to charge it. Hang it from anywhere. Charge it when you're done. Put it in your tent and use it. And this thing gives off a lot of light and actually has a lot of life on it. As you can see, it's very bright. It has multiple settings, including signaling. So I've spent some time and money on things like that as well, folks. If there's something you can get that's solar, where you don't have to expend a battery or recharge a battery, in a grid down situation or shit hits the fan, electricity is going to become an exhaustible commodity. And so it's really important, as I said, to spend time planning and theorizing on just exactly what it is that our electrical needs are truly going to be. And doing things ahead of time before the disaster strikes, before shit hits the fan. Things like canning ample amounts of food and having the means to can what is left in your freezer if you have to, if we do in fact lose electricity for any length of time. I've got 5 freezers full of meat and different things. I could can all of that in probably 3 days with the pressure canners and hot water bath canners that I have. I've got plenty to do all of that. So these are the types of things when we're talking about prepping, you need to think it through. There's more than just saying, okay, I need electricity, get a generator and a cord and call it macaroni. You really need to think about what it is that you're going to need electricity for, truly, because these disasters, what interruptions in our electrical grid could be a couple of hours to a couple of months. We don't never know. It's a changing world. It's a dynamic world. Caught up, it seems, lately in a lot of upheaval. And so I don't take anything off the board at this point when it comes to preparing, but I am insistent on one thing, and that is redundancy in plan, folks. 1 is none and 2 is 1. The more options you have to accomplish an objective, the better off you're going to be in any and all survival situations. And so I'm going to keep this video short. I apologize for not having done one sooner. It's been a while. I'm going to try and get more of these out as I can. I have several other topics I'd really like to touch on. But I love your feedback, everybody. I've learned an awful lot from those that watch my videos from all over the world, and I deeply appreciate all of that. So, like I said, any ideas you have out there, any input, if you're familiar with other products that are as good or better than Goal Zero, please share that information as well. And as I said before, I'll try and put the links to some of these things to give you at least some guidance and direction to go to start at least looking for what it might be that you need to provide your electrical needs in the future. God bless all of you. God bless America. I pray you have a good evening. Thank you.